Okay, let's jump really quickly into it. We're doing 12th house. This is a series where we're going through all the houses and all the signs um, of all the houses. Meaning, so we just did Pisces 12th house because it's the ruling sign of the 12th house. 12th house has to do with endings, spirituality, subconscious beliefs, limiting beliefs. What else can I say? Pisces, I always call it like world reality generating energy, like, powered by Neptune, planet of hopes and fantasies and dreams. And again, Pisces is about like, challenging your limitations and your unchecked, beliefs that you've just settled for. So this is going to be a reading for Aries astrology. So if you're an Aries sign, this is going to be a reading for if Aries is over your 12th house sector, essentially. The first reading we did was Pisces in the 12th house. So now we're going to read for Aries in the 12th house. The zodiac reel, the astrology is like it's basically like a side reel where you can kind of turn it. So the basic natal chart is going to be 1 through 12, Aries to Pisces, but everyone's birth chart is different, meaning there's going to be a different astrological sign over a particular house sector. If you need to look more into that, there's definitely a bunch of information online in regards to how that maps out and plays out. But for the most part, kind of the houses are fixed in some sort of like kind of cross section of the earth. And so, but the houses are fixed to 1 through 12. They're stationary, but then the zodiacs kind of revolve around them. So point being is that we started this series with all of the kind of home astrological signs over their houses that they rule or that they're in charge of. So for instance, our 12th house reading started with Pisces. Now we're actually gonna, just a decision that I'm making, we're gonna go backwards. So now we're gonna go to Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. As opposed to reading for Aquarius in the 12th house. But let's read for Aries in the 12th house. You might have Aries in the 12th house on your natal chart, so feel free to read for that. Feel free to watch this for that. But if you don't, stick around, have some fun. Maybe you'll pick up some gems here. What can I say? I mean, personally not much of an astrologer, but I know there's so much like overlap and cross-sectioning with the way planets and astrological houses work. For instance, I know we don't have Mars in Pisces currently, but Mars is the ruling planet of Aries. So, but if you have Mars in Pisces on your natal chart, feel free to apply this reading for you. What can I say about it? I mean, because Aries and Pisces, Aries in 12th house on the natal chart is pretty specific, and so is Mars in Pisces on your birth chart. But essentially, this is kind of, what the reading could be open to. So maybe we'll just make this reading available for those that have those kind of particular alignments. But like I said, feel free to apply it. Maybe there's a message in general for you to watch here. Spirit of gratitude, joy, love, and light. Highest possible messages for Aries in the 12th house or Mars in the 12th house. Or Mars in Pisces, I should say. We have the specifically label this reading that. Guys, if you'd like a one-on-one reading, like I said before, I believe I said before already, all my info's in the website link below. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, share, follow. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much. Let's jump right into it. Okay, we got the World card in reverse. This is incomplete lessons or cycles. Knight of Wands in reverse. This is needing to express extra energy in a positive way, so as to help your manifestation abilities. The Magician in the reverse is the inability to manifest. Seven of Pentacles in the reverse is something not growing in a timely fashion. Emperor in the upright in the heart of your reading. This is kind of everything happening around you. Shout out to the Emperor in the background. I got 9 cards on the table that I'm looking at here. Emperor's in the center. It's 3 rows, 3 columns, 3 cards each. All of this stuff is happening around the Emperor, and it's very interesting because this is the energy of Aries, this is the energy of Mars here. So again, if your Aries is over the 12th house is about spirituality, endings, limited belief systems, kind of growing. You're expanding your belief systems or your limitations. Aries is the identity of self. So there's going to be some kind of like cross influence if you have Aries over your 12th house. This is going to be about expanding your understanding of who you really are. It's kind of fitting that we're doing this reading because I've been getting into a lot of kind of like Zen Buddhism lately, where they don't believe in, correct me if I'm wrong, or at least some form of Buddhism where they don't believe in the concept of self. Okay, they don't dwell in the thinking analytical mind or the conceptual mind or the mind of language, because they realize that it essentially doesn't exist in the real world, so to speak, in the concrete world. But other than that, and in the kind of vein also as well of the fact that everything around us is Maya or illusory or coming and going. The understanding in this teaching from where I'm coming from anyways, someone who listens to, I'm going to name drop here, a spiritual guru, this guy Mooji on YouTube, feel free to check him out, Mooji. There's no concept of self, it's just mind, but rather there's that kind of space of presence and awareness in which all things kind of emerge, the thinking mind, the feeling body, etc., etc. So kind of really expounding upon or expanding or removing this identification of self here with the Emperor in the middle, as everything occurs around it here is how this spread looks. So it's very interesting because we're talking about Aries having to do with identity and self over Pisces. This is endings and beliefs and spirituality, so it could be an ending of your relationship with the concept of self. So check out Mooji if you're more curious about that, Mooji on YouTube. But he basically talks a lot about that and how the concept of self is where the suffering comes from, is where the limitation comes from, the narrative of self, cultural conditioning, and how we're kind of met with these unreachable expectations. However, if you kind of just clear your mind and put everything to the side, then you're kind of always left with that which never comes or goes, which is just pure awareness, pure being outside of mind or feeling body or feeling thinking self. That's always with us. And so he recommends to realize that that's source and that's what's behind all things. That's what's connecting all things. So very cool that the Emperor is at the heart of your reading in regards to 12th house. As far as Mars, the planet of motivation and action, being in your 12th house or being in Pisces, Mars is, if it's in Pisces, if your Mars is in Pisces, Pisces is definitely kind of go with the flow. It's a mutable water sign. So it's just kind of like the junction, adding together of equations or individuals, bringing others together. So your motivation might lie in, if your Mars is in Pisces, more so going with the flow of behavior, a more natural flowing aspect. to your action and motivation expressed in your life. If your Mars is in the 12th house in general, however, if there's a different astrological sign over your 12th house, obviously that's going to be a different combo, but in general, there might be something that you have to look at in regards to your action and motivation in the 12th house, which is your belief systems, what you think your limitations are, endings and beginnings. Maybe you have a lesson in, how to begin projects or end projects. Maybe that's like a karmic lesson for you in this lifetime. Things of that nature that can be illuminated by looking at your astrological chart. I don't claim to be an astrologist, but just putting bits of pieces of information that I understand here. So that's that. But we've got the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. This could be breadcrumbing or feeling like you're not getting compensated fairly. Again, something not growing in, not seeing a change here. Nine of Swords in the upright is worrying energy, incoming communication about a new start. Ace of Pentacles in the upright. So offsetting the Six of Pentacles in reverse, this could be going into the Church of Self, okay, coming out of poverty consciousness, the worrying mind over resources. Offsetting the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, this kind of leads again to the Six of Pentacles in reverse, which points to the Five of Pentacles in the upright, which is poverty consciousness. Okay, try not to lead with poverty consciousness as far as, your limiting ideologies or belief systems with Aries over your 12th house and or Mars in Pisces. Okay, don't limit yourself in any way, especially in the realm of your consciousness and what you think that you could attain or what you think that you're worth. That's kind of what I'm getting here. The Knight of Wands in the reverse, fighting for your beliefs, standing up for yourself is what I'm getting as well. Particularly taking action steps, possibly to find your worth or your value in a practical sense. Obviously, you never want to put a monetary value or a limited label on self-worth. So it could be a matter of understanding that, your self-worth shouldn't be based on how much you make or that which you own materially, because Pentacles is resources and materialisms, materials, that which you own. But again, rather sitting in your strength, not worrying here with the Nine of Swords in the upright. That worrying has to do with poverty consciousness as well. To go back to that kind of Buddhist teaching, only a self can worry. Only a person can worry, okay? The pure being in the state of flux, in the state of flow, doesn't dwell in the sense of self and the idea or the temptation to have a sense of self. Granted, there may be that sense of self, you versus me, spatial awareness, but I mean conceptually as if there's a sense of self for others to do harm towards or for others to try to betray. So we get caught up in this kind of struggles of personality at times because we take our concept of self, our egoic self too seriously, okay, the narrative too seriously, and we're infatuated with it in culture, okay? But the more you kind of get away from that and then just ultimately focus on actions of empowerment and what you can do here physically, and or even just communing with that source. You don't have to sit down and meditate to commune with that source. You could practice it by not logging into and delving into every thought or every feeling. So even in your waking state, as you're going through your job or doing the dishes or whatever, living your daily practical life, that quote-unquote sitting down and meditating feel or energy could be practiced in staying in this space of awareness you're like the sky, and the weather occurs in the sky. The weather being your thinking mind or your feeling self, which by the way should not limit your action or self-empowerment here. Again, with the Emperor in the upright and the Magician in reverse here, the Magician is not able to manifest, not because he doesn't have all the tools. The tools are on his table, and the know-how is within. But again, it's that state of mind. So, not letting your sense of self or any mental energy coming from others affect you or stop you. So yeah, I mean, obviously the World card in reverse, incompletions of cycles or lessons to be learned, but you'll get there. Life is a journey, obviously. So just know that things kind of do play out in cycles, and they will continue to repeat itself until you realize, what the move is that you need to do, or what the response is. And typically the response is energetically. If it's coming from a place of like thank you or gratitude or love or heart or happiness, then typically that's how these kind of obstacles or roadblocks or lessons are overcome, is by approaching things with a higher lesson. It's not what you do, but it's how you do it, okay, to a practical extent. This is clarified by the Five of Cups in the upright, so this is moving forward, salvaging a situation. Emotionally, fives are about emotional conflict. The Five of Cups is about emotional conflict, but it's ultimately something that can be salvaged and resolved. So this might be something that you're currently facing. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, feel free to dispose of it. Okay. Yeah, in any event, the High Priestess in the reverse advises this is like emotional conflict over lack of communication, text, phone call, email, or lack of a proposal or an offer. The High Priestess in reverse means that you're being too personal, you're being too subjective. She's out of her element in the reverse. Better to stay in the upright. Okay, this is where she's kind of an objective observer. She sees the thinking mind arise like clouds in the sky. She doesn't fall in love with anything, or she doesn't get fixed on the narrative, negative or positive. She can still enjoy, but she's not living and dying by that. Likewise with her feelings, they come as waves in the ocean. You can't marry a wave in an ocean, so to speak. You have to let things flow. So she's cognizant of that. I'm going to leave it there. Again, this is general, so it's not going to apply, but thank you so much if you've watched all the way up until this point. As always, reach out for one-on-one reading. It's only $2 a minute. Over email, phone, text, video, IM, chat, messenger, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Like, share, follow, comment below. And thank you so much. Check out Instagram and TikTok, all that good stuff. Holla at your boy. Peace.